Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about why I choose to have an external presence and how you can have an external presence as well if you choose to do so. Before we get to the content, please be sure to like this video. Subscribe so you can get more content in oil and gas and professional development topics, and please be sure to comment on the video below so I can incorporate your feedback into future videos. Please be sure to hit that notification bell when you do subscribe, because I upload whenever I want. Well, let's get to the content. The following that I'm going to say are based on feedback, jokes, call it what you want, whenever I do post something or the fact that I have a YouTube channel. Number 1, be careful what you say in front of Yoshi. She might make a YouTube video about it. Number 2, just because I said this, Yoshi, don't make a YouTube video about it. Number 3, I tend not to post on social media because of the bad intent people end up assigning just because they don't know you that well. Number 4, why can't you do your job? Trust me, I've heard everything when it comes to my social media presence. Some people like it, some people have their doubts. In fact, I've even gotten questions about it and how I end up making the time. And the truth is, this is what I do this in my free time. This is what I do for fun. This is what I do to educate. This is what I do for entertainment purposes, whether if it's for me or whether if it's for other people. I really don't mean to do this as a distraction for anybody. Rather, I'm here to help. And I think assuming positive intent is the best way to go. I choose to do it in a unique way because I thought finding a venue that not a lot of people use, but a lot of people use outside of their job might be a way to go. And if you have other venues as far as external presence goes, then go for it. I also know that external presence is also dependent on your environment. For example, where you work. There are some jobs that are really keen on not wanting for you to have an external presence because it may not help them with the bottom line. Other places, you may want to have an external presence as long as that's part of your career path and that's been agreed upon. So it really depends on where you are at your point of life, whether if you choose to have an external presence or not. But here are my reasons. My first reason that I'm going to talk about as to why I had an external presence is it didn't really end up that way. That wasn't the intention. I was trying to secure a job, put myself out there. And the fact that this was a way of putting myself out there was a reason why I chose to have an external presence. Number 2, it's my personality. I tend to be a pretty expressive person, whether if it is in a meeting, when it comes to expressing my opinion or expressing my thoughts or giving logical answers or leading by data. Or another reason is I'm just expressive in person, even outside of my job. I'm someone who likes to talk about things. I'm someone who likes to discuss ideas. And I really like to engage in an intellectually stimulating conversation. So with that being said, having an external presence is an extension of my personality. And the third reason as to why I like to choose to have an external presence is I really do desire to educate. I think as an industry, it's an oil and gas industry, we're really bad at defending ourselves and we always have to come up as the defense. Why don't we come up to be pretty proactive into sharing how socially responsible we are as an industry? What are the cool things we end up doing in terms of technology and innovation, and all the cool things that we are doing to uplift people's quality of lives and uplift people from poverty? I think there's some beautiful things in the oil and gas industry, which is why I choose to be in it. Now, with all of that being said, here are some ways that I think you can get involved in having an external presence, aligns with your goals, aligns with your vision of who you are as far as building your brand, or if it's something that you just want to do. The first thing that I would suggest you do is post regularly and post often, not 50 times a day, but once a day at the max, and then once a week as a sweet spot, on technical topics and professional development topics that are of interest to you. If you're a drilling engineer, post things about drilling engineering. If you're a reservoir engineer like myself, or reservoir production engineer like myself, then post something about reservoir production engineering. If it's about professional development topics, such as being on a business and leadership committee, then post stuff about that. Having a post and relating to topics of your interest can help you engage in dialogue and engage in conversation. Now, here's some caveats to this. If someone does throw criticism at you, I typically do engage, but there comes a point where I stop engaging. I make a point and then I move on. And I really do thank people for the feedback. I don't try to extend the argument a little bit more and make it a contest in terms of who won their argument, not necessarily a debate. I want to engage in dialogue. Now, another reason why I have an external presence on social media is it's been a habit of mine. I've always been posting since I was first got laid off in 2016. And I've been posting to put myself out there and to engage with other people and to learn about ideas. So this was used as a survival mechanism, but also I used it as a way that it ended just being a habit. And as I've grown a bigger following base, whether if it's on YouTube or on LinkedIn, I started trying to cultivate that. And I think that's been very helpful for me to meet new people in the industry, to get new ideas and how I can develop myself and develop others as well. Well, folks, that's everything that I wanted to share with you guys as to why I choose to have an external presence on social media. And should you want to have an external presence on social media, there are some ideas that I've shared with you as well. So just posting, educating about when it comes to conferences. That's another thing I want to mention. Let's go back to that. Educating when it comes to people like through conferences. As long as your company allows you to do it, then you can go for it. And present in conferences, present in workshops, symposia. SB is a great venue for that. AAPG is a great venue for that. The other thing I would tell you is to have an external presence is through mentoring, whether if it's mentoring within your company or mentoring external to the company. SB has an e-mentoring program, for example, when it comes to that. So I would suggest you do that. And then the last thing that I would say in order to have an external presence is to talk to people that are outside of your industry and introduce them to the oil and gas industry to reduce the misinformation. As I mentioned before, defending our industry is not our greatest strength. It's not our forte. Let's just face it. And I think a lot of it has to do is a lot of us don't really have the external presence or choose to have the external presence. It's not an extension of a personality like it is for me. So get out of your comfort zone in that way. Engage with other people that are against the oil and gas industry, who are your friends, for example, and suggest them Fossil Futures, suggest the Moral Case of Fossil Fuels, the books by Alex Epstein. Those are my suggestions as to why I think you should have an external presence. And this is an explanation of why I choose to have an external presence. So anyway, whether if you agree with it or not, whether if you think I should continue to do what I do, feel free to comment below. But I think I needed to put this out there because, trust me, I've heard it all. I get the jokes on whether if I'll end up making a YouTube video putting someone on blast. I get the jokes on, oh, she's going to post something very sensitive information about her company on social media, which I never do. So that is one thing you can definitely guarantee from me. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good one, and I'm signing off.